Welcome back, guys, to Military Paranormal Time. 66% of you still haven't subscribed. Before we start the video, hit that subscribe button. It only takes a second. Thank you. February 1959. The helicopter blades beat against the frozen sky like a dying heart. I pressed my gloved hand against the frost-coated window, watching the endless white below. Captain Mikhail Volkov, that's me. Recovery mission. Routine, they said. Find the missing hikers. Bring them home. The Urals stretched beneath us like a corpse under a sheet. White, silent, dead. Base, this is Transport 7. The pilot's voice crackled through my headset. Approaching Dead Mountain Zone. Confirm position. Static answered. Then nothing. The pilot tried again. Base, do you copy? Silence swallowed his words. Not even the hiss of static remained. Just nothing. The kind of nothing that makes your skin crawl. We've lost all communication, sir. The pilot's knuckles went white on the controls. I watched the instruments. The altimeter needle jerked left, then right, then spun in lazy circles. The compass followed, rotating slowly like it couldn't decide which way was north. Or like north didn't exist anymore. Still on course? I asked. Lieutenant Dmitry Sokolov checked his map with mechanical precision. Always by the book, Sokolov. Affirmative, Captain. Kholat Syakhl dead ahead. Dead Mountain. Even the name felt wrong in my mouth. Behind me, Sergeant Grigory Markov muttered something under his breath. Old bastard had seen action in the war. Nothing scared him. But his eyes, they kept darting to the window, watching the white below like it might suddenly open up and swallow us. Locals call it cursed ground, he said. Mansi won't go near it. Bad spirits, they say. Dr. Anya Petrova adjusted her medical kit. Calm, professional. But I saw her fingers tremble slightly as she checked the straps. First time in the field for her. Private Kuznetsov sat rigid in his seat. Kid couldn't be more than 20. His Adam's apple bobbed as he swallowed. Again. I made my decision. Continue, I ordered. We have hikers to recover. The helicopter dropped lower. The silence outside pressed against the windows like something alive. The helicopter touched down with a shudder that rattled my teeth. The rotors whined, slowing, dying, then stopped. Silence slammed into us like a fist. I've been in combat zones, firefights, artillery barrages. I know what silence sounds like after the guns stop. This wasn't that. This was something else, something wrong. I popped the door. Cold exploded inward, not just cold, but something sharper, meaner. It didn't just chill your skin, it burrowed into your bones and made a home there. -30 Celsius. Maybe colder. My breath crystallized before it left my mouth. I stepped out. My boots crunched in the snow, too loud, impossibly loud in that pressing quiet. No wind, no birds, no distant sounds of the mountains settling, just our breathing and the creak of our gear. Form up, I said. My voice sounded flat, dead, like the air swallowed it before it could travel. The team assembled. Markov scanned the snowfield, eyes narrowed. He pointed uphill with his rifle. Tracks, old ones, leading up the slope. I studied them. Faint depressions in the snow, half filled by time. Human. Multiple sets. That's them, Sokolov confirmed. We started walking. Each step sank deep. The snow grabbed at our boots like hands reaching up from below. I kept my rifle ready, standard procedure. But my finger rested closer to the trigger than usual. Behind me, Kuznetsov's breathing came fast and shallow. Panic breathing. I'd seen it before in Green Soldiers. Steady, Private, I said without turning. He didn't answer, just kept breathing wrong. The silence followed us up the slope, patient, waiting, watching. We crested the slope, and I saw it. An orange tent half buried in snow. Wrong. Everything about it was wrong. The fabric hung in tatters, not torn by wind. I'd seen wind damage before, These were cuts. Deliberate. Violent. I approached slowly, rifle up. Sokolov, left flank. Markov, right. They moved into position without a word. Good soldiers. The tent leaned at an odd angle. One side collapsed inward. I reached the entrance, or what should have been the entrance. Instead, I found jagged slashes in the canvas, long cuts, made from inside. My stomach tightened. They cut their way out, I said. Sokokov pulled back the torn flap. His face went pale. I looked inside. Sleeping bags ripped open, contents spilling out like guts from a wound. Personal items scattered everywhere, journals, clothes, equipment. Everything frozen in place, preserved like a photograph of chaos. But the boots. That's what made my breath catch. Boots lined up neatly at the tent's edge. Coats folded nearby. Thick winter gear, all of it abandoned. They left everything, Anya whispered behind me. She crouched, touching a discarded coat with careful fingers. In this temperature, without proper clothing. She didn't finish. Didn't need to. We all knew what it meant. I stepped back, scanning the area. Footprints led away from the tent, dozens of them, chaotic, moving in different directions before converging into a trail heading downhill. Bare feet. Socks. One set looked like someone had run in their underwear. What could make them run like this? Sokolov asked. His voice cracked slightly on the last word. I followed the tracks with my eyes. They disappeared into the sparse tree line below, running, desperate, fleeing something. But fleeing what? The wind picked up suddenly, the first movement of air since we'd landed. It moaned through the torn tent, making the fabric flutter. The sound reminded me of breathing, wet, labored. I shook my head. Focus. Document everything, I ordered. Then we follow those tracks. Kuznetsov pulled out the camera. His hands shook so badly the first 3 shots were probably blurred. Markov stood at the edge of the campsite, staring downhill. He hadn't moved, hadn't spoken. Sergeant? He turned slowly. His face looked 10 years older than it had 20 minutes ago. Sir, he said quietly. Whatever made them run, they didn't run fast enough. We descended in formation. The footprints led us through deepening snow, down the slope toward the tree line. Each step took us further from the helicopter, further from safety. The trees appeared gradually, sparse, twisted things that looked more dead than alive. No branches on the lower trunks. Everything above head height, reaching toward a sky that gave no warmth. Kuznetsov kept glancing backward. I didn't blame him. That crawling sensation between my shoulder blades had started the moment we left the tent. The feeling of eyes, watching, waiting. There, Markov pointed ahead. A massive cedar tree rose from the snow. Even from a distance, I could see something wrong with it. Branches broken off, hanging at odd angles. And at its base, contact, I said, raising my fist. The team froze. 2 bodies lay at the tree's base. Even from here, I could see they were dead. The way they sprawled, too still, too rigid. Death has a posture you learn to recognize. We approached carefully. I kept my rifle up, scanning the tree line. Nothing moved. Nothing made a sound. The first body was a young man, maybe 25, stripped to the waist. His skin had turned a grayish blue that didn't look real, like a painting of death rather than the thing itself. His hands were frozen in a reaching position, fingers curled like claws. The second body lay a few feet away, same age, same condition, also half naked. Why would they remove their clothes? Sokolov asked. Anya knelt between the bodies, her medical training overriding her fear. She examined them with careful, practiced movements, checking vitals that clearly didn't exist, following procedure because procedure was all we had. Severe hypothermia, she said. Her breath came out in short white clouds. Final stage. The body becomes confused, feels hot instead of cold. They strip their clothes thinking they're burning up. Paradoxical undressing, I said. I'd read about it, never seen it. She nodded. They were dying, maybe already delirious. Near the tree, I found the remains of a fire, barely started. A few charred branches, some scorched bark. The snow around it had melted and refrozen in a small circle. They'd tried, failed. I looked up at the cedar. Several branches had been broken off at unusual heights, 8, maybe 10 feet up. Someone had climbed, torn branches down for firewood. They were desperate, Markov said quietly. I studied the area. More footprints led away from the tree, heading back uphill toward the tent. Some of them had tried to return, had tried to get their clothes, their gear. Search pattern, I ordered. If there are 2 bodies here, there are probably more. We spread out, moving carefully through the snow, looking for shapes that shouldn't be there, colors that didn't belong. Sokolov found the 3rd body halfway between the tree and the tent, face down, one sock missing, the back of his head crusted with frozen blood. Then the 4th, a woman, curled on her side like she was sleeping. Then the 5th, a man who'd made it almost back to the tent before what? That's when Anya gasped. I turned. She was kneeling beside the 5th body, her gloved hands hovering over his chest. Not touching, just hovering. "Captain," she said. Her voice was wrong, too high, too tight. "You need to see this." I moved to Anya's side. She'd opened the victim's coat, what little he'd been wearing. His shirt underneath was intact, no tears, no blood on the fabric. But his chest, Jesus Christ, his chest. "His ribs," Anya whispered. They're crushed." I could see it even through the clothing, the unnatural concavity, the way his torso sank inward where it shouldn't, like something had grabbed him and squeezed. "Check for external wounds," I said. Her hands moved with practiced efficiency, examining every inch. She looked up at me. Her eyes were wide, scared. "Nothing. No bruising, no cuts, no external trauma at all." "That's impossible," Sokolov said from behind me. "If his ribs are broken—" "Not broken," Anya interrupted. "Crushed, pulverized. The force required—" She trailed off, swallowed hard. "The force required would be equivalent to a high-speed collision, a car crash, maybe worse." I stared at the body. My mind tried to make sense of it, failed. "Could he have fallen?" I asked. "From a height?" "Then there would be impact trauma, bruising, torn blood vessels under the skin. There's nothing. It's like the force went straight through the surface tissue without affecting it." Markov had moved away from us. He was examining the footprints again, not the victims, but others. The ones I'd noticed earlier. The wrong ones. "Captain," he called. His voice was flat, dead. I left Anya with the body and joined him. He pointed at the snow. The tracks were massive, 3 distinct impressions, not toes, but something else. Each print was easily a foot wide. The depth suggested enormous weight, and the spacing between them. "Whatever made these," Markov said slowly, "walks upright." I followed the trail with my eyes. It circled our position, wound between the trees, crossed the victim's footprints multiple times. "It was following them," I said. Markov nodded. He didn't look at me, just kept staring at those impossible tracks. "We should go," he said quietly. "Right now. Leave the bodies, get back to the helicopter and—" "And what?" I asked. "Abandon the mission? Tell command we got spooked?" "Yes," he said. He finally looked at me. His eyes were haunted. "Yes, sir. Exactly that." I wanted to. God, I wanted to. Every instinct screamed at me to run, to get away from this place, from these bodies, from those tracks. But I was a soldier. We had orders. "We finish the search," I said. "Document everything. Then we leave." Markov's jaw tightened, but he nodded. "Kuznetsov," I called. "Check your equipment. Compass, radio, anything electronic." The kid fumbled with his gear, pulled out his compass. The needle spun lazily in circles, never settling. "Dead, sir," he said, his voice cracked. "Mine too," Sokolov confirmed. I pulled out my radio, keyed the transmit button. Static hissed back at me, but wrong static. Not random, almost rhythmic, like breathing. I released the button. The static stopped. The silence that followed was worse. "Sir!" Kuznetsov's shout came from deeper in the trees. "I found something." We moved toward his position. He stood at the edge of a small ravine, staring down. His face was pale. His rifle hung forgotten in his hands. I reached the edge and looked down. 4 more bodies, partially covered by snow, but visible enough. "Christ," Sokolov breathed. We climbed down carefully. The ravine was maybe 15 feet deep, sheltered from the wind. The snow here was different, older, more compacted. It had started to melt in places where the sun hit during the day. That's why we could see them so clearly. The first body was a woman. Her face was turned upward. Empty eye sockets stared at nothing. Her mouth hung open in a frozen scream. No eyes, just empty holes. Anya knelt beside her, made herself examine the wounds. Professional, detached. The only way to function. "The eyes were removed," she said. Her voice was steady, but I heard the effort it took. "Cleanly, precisely, not scavenged by animals. The tissue damage is wrong for that." The second body was worse. A man, slightly older. His jaw hung slack. I could see inside his mouth. No tongue. "Same thing," Anya confirmed. "Surgically removed. Post-mortem, I think. I hope." The third body showed similar mutilation. Eyes gone. The fourth, I had to look away. Then forced myself to look back. To see. To witness. Multiple injuries. Chest crushed like the others. Skull fractured. And those same precise removals. "What the hell did this?" Sokolov asked. He wasn't talking to any of us, just speaking into the void. I noticed something on one of the bodies, the clothing. I moved closer. Anya, the jacket. She looked, frowned, pulled out a small device from her medical kit, a Geiger counter, standard issue for fieldwork in case we encountered contamination from industrial sites. She held it near the clothing. Click, 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 click. "Radiation," she said. "Not dangerous levels, but it's there. On the clothes." "How?" Sokolov asked. I thought about the lights we'd heard about, the ones the search party before us had reported. Strange lights in the sky the night the hikers died. "I don't know," I said, but I was starting to suspect, starting to piece together something I didn't want to believe. I looked at the bodies again, studied their positions. The woman, her arm was stretched out, reaching for something. The man beside her was curled in a defensive position. They'd been trying to hide, to protect themselves. From what? I looked up at the ravine's edge, at the tree line beyond. The silence pressed down like a weight. Something had hunted them, chased them from their tent, followed them through the snow, killed them one by one. Something strong enough to crush human bones without breaking the skin. Smart enough to mutilate corpses. Present enough to leave radioactive traces. "We need to find the rest," I said. "The rest?" Kuznetsov's voice was shrill. "How many more?" 9 hikers were reported missing, I said. "We found 7 bodies. 2 more are out here somewhere." We found the 8th body 20 meters from the ravine, face down in the snow. One arm stretched out ahead of him, the other tucked beneath his body. I recognized him from the photographs. Igor Dyatlov, group leader, 23 years old. "Help me turn him," I said to Markov. We rolled him carefully onto his back. His face was preserved by the cold. Eyes closed, almost peaceful, like he was sleeping. But his expression, even frozen, I could see it. Terror, locked into his features like a photograph. What had he seen? His right hand was still tucked under his body, clutched against his chest. I tried to move it. The arm was frozen solid, locked in position. "There's something," Markov said. Under him. We lifted the body carefully. Underneath, pressed into the snow, was a leather-bound book, a journal. The cover was dark with age and moisture, but protected by the body, it hadn't been completely destroyed by the elements. I picked it up. The leather was frozen, brittle. I was afraid it might crack if I opened it. "Bag it," I said to Sokolov. "Carefully." He produced an evidence bag. We slipped the journal inside. The 9th body was never found. At least, not that day. The light was fading, temperature dropping. We'd been on site for hours. "Sir," Sokolov said, "we should evacuate. Before dark." He was right. I didn't want to be on this mountain when the sun went down. Didn't want to find out what hunted in the darkness here. "Agreed. Mark the positions. Document everything. We move in 5. The team worked quickly, photographing, measuring, recording, professional. But I saw their hands shake. Saw them glance at the tree line, at the shadows growing longer between the trees. Kuznetsov was the worst. He'd stopped trying to hide his fear. His rifle was up, finger on the trigger, sweeping across every shadow, waiting for something to emerge. I understood. I felt it too. That animal awareness, that prey instinct. Something was wrong with this place. Wrong in ways that made my brain scream. We needed to leave. Now. I was taking one last look at the ravine when I heard it. Low, deep, resonant. A humming sound that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. It vibrated in my chest, made my teeth ache. The sound didn't travel through the air, it traveled through me. The team froze. "What is that?" Kuznetsov whispered. The humming continued, rose in pitch slightly, then fell. Rhythmic, almost like breathing. Not wind, not machinery, not anything I'd ever heard before. It lasted maybe 10 seconds, then stopped. The silence that followed was absolute. "We're leaving," I said. "Now, formation, move." Nobody argued. We climbed out of the ravine, started back toward the helicopter. I forced myself not to run, to maintain discipline, but every step felt too slow, too exposed. The forest around us had grown darker. Shadows pooled between the trees. In my peripheral vision, I thought I saw movement. When I turned to look directly, nothing was there. Markov moved beside me. His rifle was up, eyes scanning. "Sir," he said quietly, "we're being watched." "I know. We need to move faster." "I know." Behind us, Kuznetsov made a small sound. Half gasp, half whimper. "Something moved," he said. "In the trees, I saw—" "Keep moving," I ordered. "Eyes forward." We emerged from the tree line. The helicopter sat where we'd left it, rotors still, looking impossibly small against the vast white slope. We crossed the distance in tense silence. Every step felt like it took a year. I didn't breathe properly until we were inside, until the doors were closed, until the rotors started spinning. As we lifted off, I looked down at the mountain, at the scattered bodies, at the torn tent, at the tree line where something dark stood watching us leave. I blinked. It was gone. But the journal, Igor's journal, sat in my lap, heavy, waiting. It held answers. I knew it did. I just wasn't sure I wanted to know them. The helicopter ride back was silent. Nobody spoke. Nobody looked at each other. The moment we crossed out of the mountain's range, the radio crackled to life. "Transport 7, this is base. You're back on grid. Report status." The pilot responded with coordinates and ETA. His voice was steady, professional, like nothing had happened. But his hands still shook on the controls. We landed as the sun touched the horizon. The base looked normal. Warm lights, solid buildings, people moving with purpose. Reality. But it felt wrong, like we'd brought something back with us, some piece of that mountain's wrongness. Colonel Vadim Orlov waited on the tarmac. Tall, gray-haired, expression carved from stone. He watched us disembark with cold eyes. "Captain Volkov, report." I gave him the basics. 9 hikers, 8 bodies recovered, 1 still missing. Unusual circumstances, evidence collected. His eyes fixed on the evidence bag in my hand, the journal. "I'll take that." "Sir, I need to examine it first. For the investigation." "Captain." His voice was flat, hard. "That's classified evidence. I'll secure it personally." I wanted to refuse, wanted to keep it. Something in me knew that journal was important, that once I gave it up, I'd never see it again. But orders were orders. "I need 24 hours, I said, to document the contents, standard procedure." Orlov's jaw tightened, his eyes narrowed. For a long moment, I thought he'd refuse. Then he nodded, once, sharp. 24 hours, not a minute more. Then it goes to classified archives. "Yes, sir." He left without another word. Markov watched him go. "He already knows," Markov said quietly. "Whatever happened on that mountain, he already knows." I looked at the journal in my hands. The leather was starting to thaw. Moisture beaded on the surface. "Get some rest," I told the team. "Debrief at 0800. They dispersed, grateful, eager to be anywhere else. I went to my quarters alone, locked the door, sat at my desk under the single lamp, and opened Igor Dyatlov's diary. The first page was dated January 27th, 1959. The handwriting was neat, careful, optimistic. "We begin our trek to Otorten Mountain today. 9 of us, all experienced except Yuri Yudin, who's eager despite being the youngest. The weather is clear, spirits are high. This expedition will establish a new difficulty category for winter hiking in the Urals. I'm documenting everything for the sports committee." I turned the page. More of the same. Weather conditions, route planning, group dynamics. January 28th. Made excellent progress. Semyon tells stories from the war. Zinaida sings folk songs. The mountains are beautiful, harsh, but beautiful. We are alive. We are free. This is what life should be. Normal. All of it completely normal. January 30th. Reached the foothills of Kolatsiakal. The locals call it Dead Mountain. Our Mansi guide refused to continue. Said the mountain is sacred, cursed, that spirits guard the summit and punish those who trespass. We paid him for his time and continued without him. Superstition, old beliefs. We are Soviet citizens. We believe in science, in progress, not in spirits. Still, the name bothers me. Dead Mountain. Why call it that? I felt a chill that had nothing to do with temperature. The entries continued. Routine observations. The group was making good time. Weather was holding. No problems. Then, February 1st. The handwriting changed. Still legible, but less careful. Faster, like the words were being written in a hurry. Something strange tonight. I leaned closer to the lamp, read on, and started to understand what had happened on that mountain. What was still happening. I read Igor's entry for February 1st. His handwriting had changed. The letters pressed harder into the paper. Urgent. February 1st, evening. We set up camp on the eastern slope, good position, sheltered from the worst of the wind. Around 8 p.m., something happened. Strange lights appeared on the distant ridge, maybe 5 kilometers away. Bright, pulsing, like signal flares, but more controlled, more deliberate. The light was wrong, not orange like flares should be, more blue-white, almost electric. Semyon grabbed his binoculars, studied them for several minutes. His face went strange. When I asked what he saw, he said, "Military exercise, must be." But his voice was wrong, tight, scared. We're technically in a restricted zone. We knew that. But we had permits, special authorization from the sports committee. We should be fine. The lights lasted 10 minutes. During that time, we heard something, a sound. Low-frequency humming that made my teeth ache, made my skull vibrate. Yuri got a nosebleed. So did Rustem. The sound felt like it was inside us. Then everything stopped. Lights gone, sound gone. Just darkness and silence. Afterward, our equipment started malfunctioning. My watch stopped at exactly 8:14 p.m. Won't restart. Yuri's watch also frozen at 8:14. The flashlights flicker constantly now. Have to shake them to make them work. Semyon is worried. Won't say why. But I know that look. I've seen it on soldiers' faces before. The look of someone who recognizes danger. We should turn back, but we've come so far. We're so close to Otorten. The group voted to continue. I agreed. But I'm writing this by candlelight because the flashlight won't stay on. And I can't stop thinking about those lights, about that sound, about the way Semyon's hands shook when he lowered the binoculars. I set the journal down, rubbed my eyes. The lights, the humming sound. It matched what we'd heard, what I'd felt in my chest on that mountain. Military exercise. But what kind? I thought about the radiation on the clothing, about that sound that traveled through matter instead of air. What had they been testing out there? The next entry was dated February 2nd, morning. No one slept well. Nightmares. All of us. Zenaida woke up at 3 a.m., said she dreamed about shadows with too many limbs, about voices calling her name from outside the tent. She wouldn't talk about it after, just sat wrapped in her sleeping bag staring at nothing. Liuda had dreams too. She won't say what about, but she's been quiet all morning. Keeps looking over her shoulder. I dreamed about drowning, but not in water, in something thicker, darker, and there were hands pulling me down. So many hands. When I woke up, my nose was bleeding again. The pillowcase was soaked. Yuri's watch is still frozen at 8:14. Mine too. We checked the spare compass this morning. The needle won't settle. It rotates slowly, constantly, like it can't decide which way is north, or like north keeps moving. This is wrong. All of this is wrong. I suggested we turn back. The group voted again, 7-2. Continue. Only Semyon and I wanted to retreat. Semyon pulled me aside after, told me quietly that he's seen this before. Not exactly this, but similar. During the war, near a German research facility they raided in '44. Equipment malfunctioning, men having nightmares, strange lights in the sky. He wouldn't tell me what happened to his unit after that, but his eyes said enough. "We're in something's territory now," he said. "We need to leave." But democracy ruled. We continue. We break camp in an hour, heading higher up the slope, toward Dead Mountain's summit. I'm writing this while I can still think clearly, while my hands are still steady, because I have a feeling that won't last much longer. I turned the page. My hands were now, just like Igor's must have been. The handwriting in the next entry was worse, harder to read, frantic. February 2nd, afternoon. Something is following us. The compass isn't just broken, it's wrong. We tested it against the sun's position. The needle points the opposite direction it should, like it's being pulled towards something that isn't north. 2 of our cameras jammed. Zolotaryov tried to fix them. He's good with equipment. He took them apart, put them back together. They still won't work. The film inside had been exposed. All of it. Like someone opened the cameras in daylight, but no one did. They were sealed, unopened. The exposed film shows something. Faint images. Shapes. Zolotaryov won't let anyone see them. He burned the film, said it was ruined, useless. But I saw his face when he looked at those images. I saw the color drain from his skin. I stopped reading, looked at my own hands. They were trembling. I forced them still. Picked up the journal again. Zenaida won't be alone anymore. She stays within arm's reach of someone at all times. Says she feels eyes on her back. Says the feeling gets stronger when she's isolated. I feel it too. We all do. But no one wants to admit it. The mountain is too quiet. No birds. No small animals. Nothing. Just us and the wind and this horrible, pressing silence. We stopped for lunch. I wandered a short distance to relieve myself, maybe 20 meters from the group. I felt it then, stronger, that sensation of being watched, studied. I turned around quickly. Nothing there, just white snow and gray rocks and twisted trees. But the feeling didn't go away. It followed me back to the group, sat on my shoulders like a weight. We're being observed, tracked. I'm sure of it now. Rustem found something while we were setting up camp, tracks in the snow. He called me over. Didn't want to alarm the others. The prints were massive. 3 impressions, not toes, but something else. Each one nearly a foot wide. Deep. Whatever made them is heavy. Very heavy. The stride length between prints suggests something tall. Maybe 8 feet. Maybe more. And they circled our previous campsite. From the night before. Multiple times. We slept while something walked around our tent. Studying us. Deciding. What is it? I asked Rustem. He just shook his head. Nothing that should exist. We didn't tell the others. What would we say? That something impossible is following us? That we're being hunted? They're scared enough already. My mouth was dry. I got up, poured water from the pitcher on my desk, drank. The water tasted like metal. I sat back down, kept reading. 10 p.m. Can't sleep. None of us can. We're hearing sounds outside the tent, footsteps crunching in the snow. Slow, deliberate, circling. At first I thought it was wind, but there is no wind tonight. The air is perfectly still. Yuri volunteered to check outside. He's young, brave, stupid. He grabbed the flashlight and unzipped the tent. We waited, heard his boots crunching away, then stop. Silence. Yuri? Zinaida called. Her voice was shaking. No answer. Then his footsteps returning. Fast, running. He dove back into the tent. His face was white, eyes wide. He was breathing like he'd sprinted a kilometer. What did you see? Semyon demanded. Yuri couldn't speak at first, just shook his head, over and over. Finally, something moved. Between the trees, down the slope. Something big, too big. What was it? I asked. I don't know. The flashlight beam hit it and it moved. Fast. Wrong. Things don't move like that. We all sat in silence, listening. The footsteps started again. Closer this time, right outside the tent wall. We could hear breathing. Heavy. Wet. Like lungs forcing air through passages that weren't designed for breathing. Liuda grabbed my arm. Her fingers dug in so hard they left bruises. The tent wall pushed inward, just slightly, like something was pressing against it from outside, testing it, feeling the fabric. We sat frozen. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. The pressure released. The footsteps moved away, slowly, taking their time. It knows we're here. It knows we're trapped. It's playing with us. Midnight now. The sounds have stopped, but none of us will sleep. We're taking watches, 2 people awake at all times, weapons ready, ice axes, knives, whatever we have. I'm writing this because I need something to do, something to focus on besides the silence outside, besides wondering when it will come back, and what it will do when it does. 12:30 a.m. Something is wrong with the air. I read the words. They were smudged. Like Igor's hand had been shaking so badly the pen dragged across wet ink. Thick, hard to breathe. Pressure building in our skulls. Yuri's nose is bleeding again. So is mine. Rustem is holding his head. Says it feels like something is pressing on his brain. The tent is shaking. Not wind. I keep saying that, keep trying to convince myself, but it's not wind. Something is outside, pressing against the walls, testing them. The fabric bulges inward. I can see the shape of it, not hands, something else, Wrong angles, too many joints. We hear breathing, right outside. So close. The sound is wet, wrong. Like lungs that aren't designed for air trying to process oxygen anyway. Zinaida is crying. Silent tears running down her face. She's staring at the tent wall, at the bulge pressing inward. Semyon has his knife out, knuckles white around the handle. "If it comes through," he says, "we fight." But how do you fight something you can't understand? Something that shouldn't exist? The pressure in my head is getting worse. I taste copper, blood. My vision is blurring at the edges. The tent wall rips. Just a little. A small tear near the top. From outside. We all scream. Can't help it. Pure animal terror. But nothing comes through. The tear just sits there, slowly widening. Like whatever made it is savoring our fear. "We need to run," Lyuda whispers. "We need to run right now." "Where?" Zolotaryov demands. "It's -30 out there. We'll freeze." "We'll freeze anyway," Semyon says. "At least out there we can move." The footsteps start again, circling, slowly, methodically. Whatever it is, it's not in a hurry. It has all night. It has all the time in the world. We don't. 1 a.m. The tent is shaking harder now. The pressure in the air is unbearable. I can feel it in my bones, in my teeth, like a frequency just below hearing, vibrating through everything. The breathing outside grows louder, faster, excited. It's not just circling anymore, it's doing something. I can hear scraping sounds, like something dragging across the canvas. Testing, searching, looking for the weakest point. Zinaida screams, points at the tent wall to her left. I see it. We all see it. A shadow pressed against the fabric from outside. Massive, tall, not human. The proportions are wrong, the shape is wrong, everything about it is wrong, and it's not moving. Just standing there, on the other side of that thin canvas wall, standing perfectly still, watching us, waiting. I don't know what time it is anymore. Watch is useless. Time feels broken. The shadow moved, started at the front of the tent, slid along the wall, smooth, unnatural, like oil flowing. It's at the back now, where Rustem is sitting. He can feel it. I know he can. His whole body is rigid, eyes locked on the wall behind him, where the shadow is. The wall bulges inward, pressing against his back. He lurches forward, away from it, but it follows. The bulge grows, pushing harder. "It's going to come through," Georgie whispers. "Oh God, it's coming through." Semyon makes a decision, grabs his knife, lunges at the tent wall. "No!" I shout, but too late. He slashes through the canvas, once, twice, 3 times, jagged cuts, creating an exit. "Out!" he screams. "Everyone out now!" Cold explodes inward. -30, maybe colder. It hits like a physical blow. But we're already moving, scrambling, crawling over each other to get through those cuts, to get away. I grab the flashlight. It flickers, dies, comes back. I don't bother with boots, with coats. There's no time. Behind us, the tent collapses, something massive moving through where we just were. We run, down the slope, toward the trees, snow cutting our feet like glass. Can't feel them, don't care. Behind us, a sound. Not quite a roar, not quite a scream. Something between. Something that vibrates in the bones, that makes the mind want to shut down rather than process it. I risk a look back. Mistake. Should never look back. It's there, on the slope, near our destroyed tent. Massive, dark. The shape of it wrong. Like geometry that doesn't follow natural rules. And it's looking at us. I can feel its attention. Fixed, focused, predatory. Then it moves, fast, impossibly fast, fluid, wrong. "Run!" Semyon screams. "Don't stop running!" We run, into darkness, into cold, into death. But death in the cold is better than what's behind us. Anything is better than what's behind us. The entry ended there, smudged, frantic. I could almost hear Igor's breathing as he wrote, feel his terror bleeding through the page. I looked at the clock. 3 a.m. I'd been reading for hours, but I couldn't stop. Had to know what happened next, even though part of me already knew. We reached the trees, all 9 of us. Still alive, still together. Barely. The cold is killing us, already. I can feel it. My feet are numb, hands won't work properly. The pen keeps slipping. We found a big cedar, some shelter, not much, but something. Georgi and Yuri are climbing it, breaking off branches. We need fire, have to have fire. Matches, where are the matches? Hands shaking too badly, can't light them. Behind us, up the slope, I hear it, moving through the snow, not hurrying. Why would it hurry? We're not going anywhere. Light the fucking fire, Semyon snarls. His voice is breaking, raw. Finally, a match catches. The branch smolders, won't catch. Too cold, too wet. Zenaida is crying. No sound, just tears freezing on her cheeks. I'm sorry, I tell her. I'm so sorry. She doesn't answer, just stares up the slope, toward where it is, waiting. Fire catches, small flame, pathetic, but something. We huddle close, try to absorb any heat we can. I look around, count heads. 8. Only 8. Where's Rustem? I ask. Silence. No one knows. No one saw. Then we hear it. A scream. Up the slope, toward the tent. Rustem's scream. It cuts off, suddenly, completely. The silence after is worse than the scream. We have to go back, Lyuda says. Get supplies, coats. We'll die without them. We'll die if we go back, Semyon counters. We're dead anyway. She's hysterical now. Look at us. We're freezing. At least up there we might… Might what? Zolotaryov snaps. Might run into whatever killed Rustem? They argue, voices rising, breaking. I stop listening. I'm watching the slope, the darkness up there, where it waits. Movement. I see movement. It's coming, I say. Quiet, flat. Everyone stops, looks. Something dark flowing down the slope, between the sparse trees. Closer. The ravine, Semyon says. There's a ravine east of here. We can hide, dig in, wait for daylight. Daylight won't help, I say. But I'm already moving. We all are. Away from the fire, away from the meager warmth, into deeper cold, deeper darkness. The 4 of us still mobile enough to move. Semyon, Zolotaryov, Lyuda, me. Behind us, Georgi and Yuri stay at the fire. Too weak to run. Hypothermia already setting in. We'll come back, I lie, when it's safe. Georgi just nods. He knows. They both know. We leave them. Have to. No choice. As we move away, I hear it reach the cedar. Hear Georgi scream. Then Yuri. Then nothing. We run, found the ravine, climbed down. Maybe 15 feet deep. Some shelter from wind. Some shelter from it. Maybe. We try to dig, scrape at the snow with our hands, make a cave, somewhere to hide. But the snow is too hard. Our hands too frozen. We can barely move our fingers. Lyuda is sobbing. I can't feel my feet. I can't feel my feet. None of us can. That's the hypothermia, final stage. We're dying. But that's not what kills us. It appears on the ravine's edge, above us, silhouetted against the stars. I see it clearly now, for the first time, really see it. My brain can't process the shape, the structure. It's like looking at an optical illusion. The angles shift, change, refuse to stay fixed. Too tall, too thin. Limbs that don't articulate the way limbs should. A head, if that's what it is, that's the wrong shape, wrong proportion. And eyes, or eye, or something that serves that function. reflecting starlight. Too many, or none, depending on how I look at it. My mind is breaking trying to understand what I'm seeing. Lyuda screams. The sound echoes in the ravine, comes back wrong, distorted. It moves, drops into the ravine with us, silent. No impact sound, like it doesn't obey physics. Zolotaryov pushes Lyuda behind him. "Run!" he shouts at me and Semyon. "Run, now!" I freeze, can't move, can't think. Terror has locked my muscles. Lyuda is ripped backward, away from Zolotaryov. I hear her hit the ravine wall. Wet sounds, cracking sounds. Then she's silent. Semyon grabs me, pulls me. "Move!" We scramble, trying to climb out. My hands slip. No strength, no feeling. Behind us, Zolotaryov is screaming. I don't look back, can't look back. The screaming stops. I risk a glance. Semyon is beside me, but he's not moving. His chest caved in. Ribs visible through his coat. When did that happen? I didn't even hear it. It's just me now, alone in the ravine, with it. I can't climb out. My body won't obey. Hypothermia, too advanced. I crawl, away from it, toward anything else, anywhere else. But there's nowhere to go. It's standing over me now. I can feel it, sense its mass, its presence. I look up, force myself to look, to see, to witness. The shape of it fills my vision. Impossible. Wrong. My mind screams trying to process it. Not animal, not human, not demon. Something else. Something that shouldn't be, that can't be, but is. It's reaching down, toward me, with something that might be a hand, might be something else. I can see. The entry ended. The pen had dragged across the page, a long smear of ink, then nothing. I sat back. My heart was hammering. Sweat soaked my shirt despite the cold room. Igor was dead, had died writing that last sentence, had died looking at something that broke his mind, something that was still out there, on that mountain, waiting. I closed the diary. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. 3 a.m. had become 5 a.m. I hadn't noticed. Time had disappeared while I read Igor's final hours, while I lived through his terror. I stood, paced. My quarters felt too small, too confined, like walls closing in. I needed answers, needed to understand what had killed those hikers, what we'd felt on that mountain. The base archives were on the lower level, restricted access, but I had clearance, captain's privilege. I grabbed my coat, left my quarters. The hallways were empty. Night shift skeleton crew. Nobody to see me, nobody to question. The archive room was cold, always cold. They kept it that way to preserve the documents. I found the filing system, started searching. Northern Urals, February 1959. Classified operations. There had to be something, some record of what happened out there. I pulled files, spread them across the metal table, read by lamplight. Weather reports, routine patrols, supply manifests. Nothing unusual. Nothing that explained. Wait. A folder marked Operation Psyche, classified. My pulse quickened. I opened it. Technical diagrams, equipment specifications, test protocols, all stamped with the highest security clearance. A weapons program, experimental, designed to disorient enemy troops using electromagnetic and sonic frequencies. The test site, Northern Urals, Kolotsiakal region. Test date, February 1st, 1959, 8 p.m. The same night Igor saw the lights, heard the humming. I read faster, skimming technical details I barely understood, looking for anything that explained what followed. There, a notation in red ink, handwritten. Warning, unintended geological interactions possible. Frequency may resonate with subsurface crystalline structures. Effects unknown. Risk assessment, moderate. Below that, another note, different handwriting. Test proceeded as scheduled. Equipment functioned within parameters. No enemy combatants present to measure effectiveness. However, unusual seismic readings detected post-activation. Duration, approximately 4 hours. Source, unknown. Recommend further investigation. And below that, a final entry, dated February 26, 1959. Investigation canceled by order of Colonel V. Orlov. All Operation Psyche materials classified above top secret. Test site declared restricted zone. Further access denied without direct authorization from GRU command. Orlov. The colonel had known from the beginning. They'd tested a weapon. Something went wrong, and then 9 people died. But the weapon didn't kill them. The weapon had awakened something that had been dormant in that mountain, buried, sleeping, until the frequency woke it up. I thought about the footprints, the impossible injuries, the way Igor's mind had broken trying to describe what he saw. What had they awakened? I took the file, folded it inside my coat. Evidence. Proof. Dawn was breaking when I left the archives. The base was waking up, soldiers moving to morning duties, officers heading to breakfast. I went straight to Colonel Orlov's office, didn't stop to think, didn't plan what I'd say. His aide tried to stop me. "Captain, the colonel isn't seeing anyone." I pushed past him, opened Orlov's door without knocking. He was at his desk, reading reports. He looked up, no surprise on his face, like he'd been expecting me. "Captain Volkov, you're early." I threw the file on his desk. You knew what happened on that mountain." He glanced at the file. His expression didn't change. "That is classified material, above your clearance level. Those hikers died because of our weapons test. We woke something up there, something that killed them." "Sit down, Captain." "I won't. Sit down." His voice was steel, command voice, the kind that makes you obey before you think. I sat. He leaned back, studied me with cold eyes. "What do you think happened on that mountain?" "The weapon test activated something? Some kind of, I don't know what, but something was there, something that hunted those people, killed them." "And you believe this because of a diary written by a man dying of hypothermia? A man whose brain was shutting down from cold?" The evidence shows an avalanche, natural disaster, tragic but explainable. The injuries weren't from an avalanche. Anya confirmed, "Dr. Petrova's report will reflect the official findings, as will yours." I stared at him, understanding slowly dawning. "You're covering it up." "I'm protecting national security. There was a weapons test. It failed. That failure is classified. The hikers' deaths are unrelated and will be reported as such." "Unrelated? They died the same night, in the same location." "Coincidence. The mountains are dangerous. People die there. That's the official conclusion." "I have Igor's diary, his account, which you'll surrender, immediately, along with all copies you may have made." My blood went cold. "How did you think I wouldn't anticipate this?" He pressed a button on his desk. "The diary will be destroyed. Your report will state, 'Death by avalanche, natural causes, case closed.'" The door opened behind me. 2 guards entered, large men, MPs. "Escort Captain Volkov out," Orlov said. "Confiscate any materials related to the Dyatlov incident." I stood. "You can't." "I can. I will. And Captain?" His eyes were flat, dead. "If you value your career, your freedom, you'll forget everything you read, everything you think you know. The incident is closed. That's an order." The guards took my arms, firm grips, professional. They walked me out, searched me, found the file, took it. But they didn't find the pages, the ones I'd copied from Igor's diary last night, hidden in my quarters, under the floorboard beneath my bed. They didn't know about those. Not yet. 2 weeks later, I submitted my official report. Dyatlov hiking expedition, final assessment. Cause of death, avalanche, compounded by severe weather conditions and hypothermia. 9 members of the hiking group were caught in an unexpected avalanche on the night of February 1st to 2nd, 1959. The avalanche struck their tent, causing panic and forcing the group to evacuate without proper cold weather gear. In the chaos and darkness, the group became separated. Various members succumbed to hypothermia at different locations. Some injuries sustained are consistent with avalanche trauma and impact with terrain during evacuation. Conclusion: natural disaster. No evidence of foul play or external hostile action. Case closed. Every word was a lie. Every sentence made me sick to write. But I wrote it, signed it, submitted it, because I wanted to live, because I had no choice. The official investigation concluded. Files sealed. Classified above top secret. The families were told their loved ones died in an accident. A tragedy, but just an accident. Igor's diary was destroyed, officially, burned to ash in the classified document incinerator. I watched it happen. Stood there while a soldier fed the leather-bound journal into the flames. But he burned a different journal, one I'd substituted, filled with weather observations and route notes copied from Igor's early entries. Innocent content. The real diary, or the pages I'd managed to copy, remained hidden, under my floorboard, waiting. Markov was transferred to a base in Siberia, middle of nowhere. He tried to call me once. The line was cut before he could speak. Anya was reassigned. Different unit, different region. I heard she requested the transfer. Couldn't sleep anymore. Couldn't close her eyes without seeing those bodies, those injuries. Sokolov stayed, became Orlov's new aide, did his job, followed orders, never mentioned Dead Mountain again. Kuznetsov disappeared. I heard he deserted, went AWOL 3 weeks after our mission. They found him in Moscow, drunk, rambling about monsters in the mountains, things that shouldn't exist. They locked him in a psychiatric facility. Chemical therapy. He stopped talking about monsters after that. Stopped talking about much of anything. And me? I stayed, kept my head down, did my job, filed reports, followed orders. But every night, I took out those copied pages, read Igor's words, remembered. Someone had to remember. Someone had to know the truth, even if I could never tell it. 3 months passed. Spring came. The snow in the Urals began to melt. They found the 9th body, the one we'd missed. Buried in the ravine under 6 feet of compacted snow. I wasn't on the recovery team, but I saw the report, read the medical assessment. Same injuries as the others, same impossible trauma, and missing parts, tongue, eyes. The report said animal scavenging, natural decomposition, but I knew better. I started having dreams, same dream, every night. I'm back on that mountain, in the ravine, looking down at the bodies, and something is standing behind me. I can feel it, massive, wrong, patient. I try to turn around to see what it is, but my body won't obey. In the dream, I hear breathing, wet, labored, wrong. Then I wake up, sweating, shaking, every night, same dream. I requested a transfer to Moscow, to anywhere else, denied. Essential personnel, they said, needed at current post. So I stayed, in this base, in the shadow of the Urals, where every clear night I can see those mountains on the horizon, where every clear night I remember what's out there. I started investigating other incidents, quietly, carefully, using my clearance to access old reports, looking for patterns, and I found them. Disappearances, deaths, unexplained incidents, all in the northern Urals, going back decades, maybe centuries if you counted local legends. The Mansi were right. Dead Mountain was cursed, not by spirits, by something worse, something that lived there, that had always lived there, something that the weapon test had awakened, and that maybe, possibly, hadn't gone back to sleep. I opened a new file, handwritten, personal, not official. Operation Dyatlov, Personal Investigation Log, Entry 1. I wrote Igor's final sentence at the top of the first page, the sentence he never finished. I can see it's... What had he seen? What had broken his mind in those final moments? I didn't know. Maybe I'd never know. But I had to try. Someone had to try. 6 months after Dead Mountain, autumn 1959. My investigation had grown, expanded. I'd collected reports from across the northern Urals region, incidents spanning years, decades. I spread them across my desk, connected them with red string on a map I kept hidden. Patterns emerged. Terrible patterns. 1960. 2 hunters disappeared near Kholat Syakhl, found 3 weeks later. Hypothermia. But their equipment was intact. They died with working matches in their pockets, working radios. Just died. 1961. A geological survey team, 5 men, sent to map mineral deposits in the region. They called in reports for 3 days. Normal, professional. Then, silence. Search party found their camp destroyed, tent torn apart, bodies scattered. Official cause, bear attack. But one survivor lived long enough to talk. Before he died of his injuries, he said, "It wasn't a bear. It was too tall, too wrong. It moved wrong." Then he died, and that testimony disappeared from the official report. 1967. A military patrol. 6 soldiers, experienced, armed. Radio contact cut out. They never called for help, never fired their weapons. Found a week later. Same injuries as the Dyatlov group. Same impossible trauma. Case closed. Classified. No investigation. The pattern was clear. Every few years. Always the same region. Always the same mountain. Something was there. Something that killed. That hunted. And nobody would acknowledge it. Nobody would stop it. Because acknowledging it meant acknowledging what we'd done. What the weapons test had unleashed. So the deaths continued. And the cover-ups continued. And the thing on the mountain waited. Patient. Eternal. I added a new report to my collection. Fresh. From last week. 3 hikers. Climbing Dead Mountain despite warnings. Despite the area being technically restricted. They were overdue. A search was being organized. I knew what the search would find. Knew what the bodies would look like. But I couldn't stop it. Couldn't warn anyone. Couldn't tell the truth. Because the truth was classified. Buried. Denied. All I could do was document. Record. Preserve the evidence that no one would ever see. Tonight, I sit at my desk, window open despite the cold, looking north, toward the mountains. They're visible in the distance. Dark shapes against the stars, Dead Mountain among them. Silent. Waiting. I'm writing this because I need to, because someone has to know, even if that someone is only me. Igor's final words haunt me. I can see it's... What did he see? What broke his mind trying to comprehend? I don't know. But I think about it. Every day, every night. I've changed. The mission changed me. Reading that diary changed me. Knowing the truth and being unable to speak it, that changed me most of all. I'm not the same man who flew to Dead Mountain 6 months ago. That man believed in order, in rationality, in explanations. This man knows better. Knows there are things that can't be explained, shouldn't exist, but do. And as I sit here writing this, I hear it. Faint, distant, but unmistakable. That humming sound, the same frequency Igor described, the same sound we heard on the mountain. I go to the window, listen. It's there, barely audible, but there, coming from the north, from the mountains, from Dead Mountain. My hands start shaking. The pen slips. I grip it tighter. The sound continues, rises slightly in pitch, then falls, rhythmic, like breathing. It shouldn't be possible. The base is 200 kilometers from Kolotsiakl. Too far. Sound doesn't travel that far. But I hear it, clear as anything. Or maybe I'm imagining it. Maybe the mountain has broken something in me too. Maybe I'm losing my mind like Igor did, like Kuznetsov did. The sound fades, slowly, gradually, until there's only silence. I return to my desk, look at my investigation, at all the evidence I've collected, the truth that no one will believe. I pick up my pen, add one final note to my file. It's still out there, still watching, still waiting. The weapon test woke it up, and I don't think it's going back to sleep. More people will die, more reports will be buried, more families will be lied to. And I'll keep documenting, keep recording, keep preserving the truth. Because someone has to remember, someone has to know, even if I'm the only one. I close the file, lock it in my desk drawer, hidden, safe. Tomorrow I'll go back to my duties, follow orders, file reports, pretend everything is normal. But tonight, I sit at my window, watching the mountains, listening for that sound, wondering if it will come back, wondering what it wants, wondering if someday it will come for me too. The lamp flickers. Once, twice, then steady. Outside, the wind picks up, cold, carrying the scent of snow from the mountains. And beneath the wind, so faint I might be imagining it, I hear something else. Breathing. Heavy. Wet. Wrong. I close the window, lock it, draw the curtains, but I can still hear it, feel it, that presence, that attention. It knows. Somehow it knows I know, and it's watching, always watching, waiting, patient, eternal. I sit at my desk, try to steady my hands, try to convince myself it's just paranoia, just trauma from what I saw. But deep down, I know the truth. I've become what Igor was, what those hikers were. Prey, marked, observed, tracked. And someday, maybe soon, maybe years from now, it will come for me, just like it came for them. I add one final sentence to my log, the last thing I'll write tonight. If you're reading this, and I'm dead, and they tell you it was an accident, don't believe them. Look to the mountains. It's still there. It's always been there. And it's waiting. I close the log, turn off the lamp, sit in darkness, listening to the silence, listening to what breathes beneath the silence. And I wait for dawn, for light, for another day of lying, another day of knowing the truth I can never speak, another day of being watched by something that shouldn't exist, but does, forever, always, waiting.